Yeah, I spoke at the conference and I had the benefit of being young. Now I'm getting older, so I have to be more organized. To Dr. Mahathir, thank you for your invitation. To Siti Asma, thank you very much for getting me here again. And I have to admit that to witness so many Iraqis with large smiles on their faces, they seem to be very well received in Malaysia. I want to thank the Malaysian people for their welcome, as it's not the case for many millions of other Iraqis. Okay, so I hesitated on how to start. I don't know if you are aware that we filed a legal case in front of universal jurisdiction in Spain for war crimes against humanity and genocide against 4 US presidents and 4 UK prime ministers. I insist on this. So it's Bush father, Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Margaret Thatcher, John Major, Tony Blair, and Gordon Brown. We insisted in naming Obama and Brown, even if they are sitting heads of state, and even if several are telling me give them the benefit of the doubt. I might give them the benefit of the doubt, but it is not a personal issue. I am not attacking these people personally, even if I am at the same time. I'm attacking a policy, a consistent policy that attempts to destroy nations and their states. In Iraq, it took 19 years. From the first Gulf War onwards, Iraq has been besieged by various means. The sanction period, usually we talk about the sanctions as if it's a general concept, but the sanctions are imposed just after tremendous devastation of civilian infrastructure. So one of the key elements of the sanctions is to prevent the reconstruction of Iraq. They bombed systematically and intentionally all health and sanitation systems, knowing that it might have the consequence of spreading diseases, epidemics, etc. And then they prevented the importation of chlorine or spare parts so as to repair the infrastructure and allow the system to provide health for the population. Not only that, throughout the sanctions periods, they were bombing through illegal no-fly zones, systematically, without any UN authorization, civilian infrastructure and defense capabilities. It is only when they were sure that Iraq was fully disarmed that they decided to invade and occupy Iraq directly. Quite coward, no? How does imperialism operate? It operates in the world by... They try to push for a permanent war, and it's a global war. Iraq is the forefront of the war, but it's not the only war. In Iraq, since 1991, like everywhere else, they have pushed for sectarianism in order to divide the nation. They use the pretext of defending one minority to attempt to control the majority. What was in fact Iraq's crime? Iraq's crime was to think that, like all people of this planet, they deserve the right to develop, to progress, and to participate in human civilization. Its crime was to nationalize oil. Its crime was to prove that it could independently manage its resources for the benefit of the community. And Iraq succeeded very effectively. It had the best health system, the best education system of the region. It had a very sophisticated middle class, and the middle class had to be destroyed. The first thing that the occupation did upon occupation, after having armed sectarian militias for a decade and entered the country, was to attack and conduct a campaign of systematic assassination of Iraqi academics, of Iraqi professors, of Iraqi doctors, of everyone who had the skills and capacity to defend the country and who would obviously stand against the plans of the occupation. So they forcefully displaced the entire middle class of Iraq that is now living in refugee either in Malaysia or Syria or Jordan. I think Dr. Khudair yesterday gave a lot of figures about the displaced. The tragedy is that these PhD holders have their children being forbidden from having the capacity to have proper education. This is the plan. And the plan, in fact, was to be enlarged to other countries, neighboring countries or other nations. Alhamdulillah, the Iraqi people have always played a historic role for human civilization and have taken upon their shoulders to defend human civilization through their courageous resistance. Iraq is a geopolitical entity that is unified for more than 7,000 years. To destroy Iraq, to destroy its historical heritage, they had to commit genocide. There is no other choice. To destroy such a deep-rooted society with all its successive civilization and the heritage of its successive civilization, they had to commit genocide. So the tactic is to attempt to partition. The political process, the so-called political process that they imposed, is a way to destroy everything that unites Iraqis and to persecute anyone who stands for a unified Iraq, for a democratic and sovereign Iraq. Basically, the constitution, Dr. Suad Azawi mentioned it in the previous panel, cancels the Arab-Muslim character of Iraq, which is the unifying cement of the society. It has values, it has shared values. It cancels it. By the end, in the constitution, the last draft, Iraq is only part of the Arab nation because it's a member of the Arab League. I mean, they started, the transitional administrative law says that the Arab people of Iraq are part of the Arab nation. The last constitution says Iraq is a member of the Arab League and as such should respect and defend the same principle as other Arab states, but it doesn't characterize Iraq anymore as an Arab state or its people as an Arab people. Secondly, it cancels the concepts of citizenship. It means that you don't have equal citizens with equal rights that can participate equally in the so-called political process. It based the whole system on sectarian and ethnic quotas, whether in the institutions or in the armed forces. That's why you get these militias that are funded, trained, armed by the US occupation, and who are ultimately under the command of the US occupation. These militias have conducted horrendous crimes, crimes that it would take much more than 10 minutes or left to explain. It goes from mutilation, it's very sophisticated, the sophistication of evil. It's terrifying. They kill people with electric drills, they mutilate their body, they kidnap hundreds of people daily, they have secret prisons, and they are directly affiliated to the political parties. I wouldn't even grant them the name of party, the gangs, the mafia, that is sitting in the so-called parliament of the occupation. So, when we hear in the West that Iraqis are killing Iraqis, this is an orchestrated campaign that is organized and protected and pushed and promoted by the occupation. If you look at the ethnic cleansing of Baghdad, it happens exactly under the surge. When 30,000 additional US troops are put inside Baghdad, this is when they ethnically